The blue deer is the singer of the song. The blue deer is the singer of the song.
The simplest thing to say about a blessing is a blessing is something that creates the conditions of balance, or restoring balance where balance has been lost. One way that imbalance shows up in people's lives is in the form of illness. And the view of all forms of traditional medicines is that illness is an expression or a messenger of imbalance. Imbalance can become solidified, can become dense, and can take on a certain kind of solidity and relative permanence. There is another way to approach that kind of imbalance and other kind of imbalances, which is the introduction of a, let's call it a spiritual energy, or spiritual presence, which is mysterious and arrives in this realm in such a way as to create or restore balance by destabilizing this solidified imbalance, creating an opening for blessing to arrive. This can create very impressive demonstrative effects, like a tumor can literally disappear. Blessings do occur, and again they make possible something that would seem impossible otherwise. Well, yes, I mean, if we define blessings as something that restores balance, balance is, well, hard to define, but if you want to put it on a, is it good or bad, it's good because it's what provides for the flourishing and the continuation of the world, although it can be challenging and it can be difficult. Particularly because you know, one can become accustomed. A number of years ago, my family and I were living in a beautiful home. I had a busy healing practice. Our children were well situated in the school. Everything seemed to be in a certain state of perfection, until a new neighbor moved in next door, who was, well, very clever, had a lot of time on his hands, a certain amount of money to deal with, and was, well, let's say, interested in giving us some trouble for his own gain. And I finally got to the point where I realized that in order to free myself of this very difficult situation, I had to do something radical. At the time, I would say the whole situation, I would have said the whole situation with this neighbor was a curse. But it did move me to do something radical. My family and I moved to a little small village in Mexico. I happened to move just to the right place at the right time, where I was able to meet the shamanic elder who was to become my teacher. So what seemed to be a curse at the time actually turned out to be an immense blessing. Blessings don't always seem rosy at first, but the benefit is always there in the long run. Well, that's where, you know, the Blue Deer Center, you could say, is has the mission, or is in the business, of helping people answer that question. The answer to that question, how does one receive a blessing? How does one even ask for a blessing? There were instructions given to all of our ancestors, to all the original peoples, right at the beginning of humanity, in the form of certain teachings and practices which are designed exactly that, for that purpose. Certain rituals and ceremonies, for example, exist for the purpose of opening up a certain blessed space, a window or a portal, you might call it, through which a blessing which is paradoxical and impossible to understand. So these instructions on how does one ask for, how does one receive or invoke blessings, are something that have existed as long as people have existed, and they don't have to be reinvented, but they do have to be rediscovered, and that's really what the Blue Deer Center is there to do. If what I'm saying has any validity to it, then what I'm calling blessings have a practical and demonstrable value. For example, in plant spirit medicine, which is a form of medicine that I've been involved with for some time, when the healer calls for blessings from what we call the spirit of plants, and there's really no physical intervention that happens. And so one can be skeptical about that, when the symptoms disappear, when a person feels better, when their life changes in a positive direction, when the symptoms get better or disappear, as I say, one has to say, well, I'm not sure how that works, but I am sure that it did work. This matter of blessings is not something to be believed in, it's something to experience. Nothing wrong with skepticism. But skepticism doesn't mean make up your mind beforehand. It just means see for yourself. And that experience of seeing for yourself is also, of course, what the Blue Deer Center is there to provide for people. So we don't ask for anyone to believe in anything or subscribe to any dogma or notions, but just to come and experience the reality of blessing.
The blue deer is